I've read a lot of history, and I know we're going to have many more problems. I know that inflation is coming back. It's going to get worse. It won't go straight up. Nothing goes straight up or straight down. But inflation is coming back all over the world, and it's going to get worse. If there's inflation, that means the price of shirts goes up. Well, if you own cotton, you make money. You know, if the price of bread goes up, well, if you own wheat, you make money.
Well, if you're at the right place at the right time, you're going to make a lot of money. If you're in a country which has a lot of commodities and commodities are going up, chances are your balance of trade is going to improve, your overall economic situation is going to improve, and your currency probably will improve too. But remember, it can go both ways. When the price of cotton is going down, then a lot of people say price of cotton is going down, Pakistan produces a lot of cotton, let's sell the currency. So it certainly goes both ways if you are a commodity country.
History shows, Elliot, well, first of all, history shows that no country stayed on top forever, 100, 200 years at the max, and then they peak and go into decline. So I presume we're no different from anybody else. But one of the problems with history is people don't learn the lessons of history. You know, we had a president recently who didn't know history, or if he did know history, he said he was smarter than history. I know I'm not smarter than history, and history is very clear. No nation and no currency, by the way, because they sometimes go hand in hand, has stayed on top forever. So America is now the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. We have troops in over 100 countries. There are people who would say that we're overextended financially, economically, militarily, and it looks like they might be right. So yes, no, I worry. It's not a good time to be young in America, because what the young people are going to inherit is mind-boggling. I've got 2 teenage kids, and it disturbs me. It's good to be old because I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay for all of this. You know, I get the benefits. They're borrowing a lot of money, spending a lot of money. Pretty well. I'm old. Okay, do it. It helps me, but it doesn't help the future. Throughout history, when you've had staggering amounts of money printing, it's always led to inflation. Now, maybe it's different this time. The Treasury Secretary, who has 2 Ivy League degrees, says, don't worry, we have it under control. We're not going to have economic problems ever again. Well, if you believe her with her Ivy League degrees, then don't worry, don't worry. I happen to have read a lot of history, and I know we're going to have many more problems. I know that inflation is coming back. It's going to get worse. It won't go straight up. Nothing goes straight up or straight down. But inflation is coming back all over the world, and it's going to get worse. Enough studies that show that when you get deep in debt, you cannot grow as fast, maybe short term, but you cannot because you got this debt hanging over your shoulder. I mean, this is simple history. These are simple facts. I don't particularly like it. You know, we're all American voters, taxpayers, and everything else, but still, facts are facts. So it can happen. It has happened. It often happens. And the symptoms, the money printing, the debt, etc., have always led to the problem, the kind of problems you're talking about. I don't think it'll happen in 2001 or 2021 or even 2022, but it's on the way. The US dollar is a terribly flawed currency. America is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and the debts go up every day, every hour. So yes, the dollar is very flawed, but in my view, when people look for something, a safe haven, they look for the US dollar for historical reasons. And my view is that the US dollar, the next time we have big market turmoil, the dollar will go up a lot, it'll become overpriced, and then I'll have to sell it and find something else. I have not changed that view, but I want to repeat so that everybody knows the US dollar is a terribly flawed currency. I would be short the US dollar, except for that it's got this status, this mental status as a safe haven. It's not, but people think it is. First, Mark, I want to tell you, it's good to be old. It's good to be an old American because we don't have to pay for it. We don't have to pay for it. Unfortunately, I've got young children, and they the problems they are going to inherit are going to be staggering. You know, in the 1920s, the UK was the richest, most powerful country in the world. There was no number two. 50 years later, they were bankrupt. Yeah. IMF had to fly into Heathrow to London airport and bail them out. That happened from number one with no second to bankrupt in 50 years. So it has happened before. It has always happened, and it's going to happen again, whether we like it or not. Now, as far as assets, well, if you look around the world, bonds are definitely in a bubble. Bonds have never been this expensive in the history of the world. Never in history have bonds been this expensive. Property in many countries is becoming a bubble. If you go to Korea or New Zealand or many parts of America, property is in a bubble. It's clear, it's very, very clear. If you look at stocks, many stocks are becoming a bubble. Samsung goes up every day. Apple goes up every day. Tencent goes up every day. Not everything. The reason I'm not getting out of the stock market is because there's still many stocks that haven't gone up. Once everything is in the bubble, I mean, I see signs of the stock market bubble developing, then we'll have to get out. The only thing that's not in a bubble are commodities. I mean, Mark, silver's down 50% from its all-time high. Sugar's down 70% from its all-time high. Oil is down 50% from its all-time high. These are not bubble kind of numbers. So commodities are the cheapest asset class. But if you don't know anything about commodities, please do not start investing in commodities. For goodness sakes, if you want to survive all of this, stay with what you know, nothing else. Don't listen to me or some guy you see on the internet. Maybe you could listen to Marcy, but don't listen to most people. But unless you really know what you're doing, do nothing. Well, now you can buy commodity ETFs listed on the stock exchange, so it's a little bit simpler. You don't have to go and buy cotton futures anymore. I mean, you can buy some ETFs, and that makes it a lot simpler. But if there's inflation, that means the price of shirts goes up. Well, if you own cotton, you make money. You know, if the price of bread goes up, well, if you own wheat, you make money. You survive and you make money when something like that happens. But again, you must do your homework. You must be prepared. You must know what you're doing. History shows, Elliot, well, first of all, history shows that no country stayed on top forever. Throughout history, when you've had staggering amounts of money printing, it's always led to inflation. But inflation is coming back all over the world, and it's going to get worse. See, America is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and the debts go up every day, every hour.